Chosen one, you saved your soulmate without knowing. God's bringing them to you now. Chosen one, listen closely and do not rush past these words, because something deeply beautiful is unfolding quietly around your life at this very moment. God has been watching every quiet step you have taken, every act of kindness that no one else noticed, and every moment when your heart chose love instead of bitterness, even when life felt heavy and confusing. What you believed were small and ordinary actions were never small in the eyes of heaven, because God was weaving something sacred through those moments that you could not see at the time. Type 2020 if you believe. Long before this day arrived, God already saw the path that your life would walk upon, and he saw another soul walking a different path that would one day cross with yours in a powerful and beautiful way. This was not an accident, and it was never random. Somewhere in your past, perhaps during a moment that seemed simple and unimportant, you did something that protected, comforted, or inspired a person whose heart was struggling silently. You might have spoken gentle words, shown unexpected kindness, or simply stood with integrity when others chose cruelty. Please subscribe to this channel if you love God. Those actions traveled further than you ever realized, reaching a heart that was quietly breaking and slowly losing hope in love, goodness, and life itself. What you offered in that moment became a light during a dark season for someone who felt alone and unseen by the world. God saw that moment clearly, and heaven marked it carefully. Because of that quiet moment, something sacred shifted inside that person's life. A seed of hope was planted inside them, even though neither of you understood what was happening at that time. The kindness you showed was not simply a good deed, but a lifeline that gently lifted their heart back toward faith and trust again. God used your heart as an instrument of healing without you even realizing the impact that moment would carry into the future. Type 1515 if you agree. And if this story is touching your heart right now, gently show your support for this video by pressing the like button, because every small act of encouragement helps this message reach another soul who might be waiting for the same comfort and hope today. There were nights when that person remembered the kindness they received from you, even though you were not physically present in their life anymore. In those quiet memories, they found strength to keep walking forward instead of giving up on life and love. God allowed that memory to remain alive inside them like a small candle that refused to go out during storms. While all of this was unfolding quietly, your own life continued moving forward through its own challenges and seasons of growth. You faced moments of doubt, times when prayers seemed silent, and days when you wondered whether your efforts truly mattered in this world. Yet God never lost sight of the deeper plan he was gently shaping around both of your lives. The connection between you and that person was never broken, even though distance and time stood between your journeys for a while. Heaven continued to guide both of you through lessons, healing, and preparation, so that your hearts would be ready when the moment of reunion arrived. God does not rush sacred timing, because the meeting of two hearts that belong together must happen at the right moment, when both souls have grown enough to recognize the blessing placed before them. During the time you were apart, both of you were learning compassion, patience, forgiveness, and trust in ways that prepared your hearts for something deeper than ordinary love. Your journey shaped your strength, and their journey shaped their understanding. Together, these experiences slowly built the foundation for a connection that carries more meaning than either of you can fully understand right now. God remembers every prayer you whispered during lonely moments when you asked for companionship that feels safe, sincere, and filled with spiritual peace. Those prayers were not forgotten, even when the answers seemed delayed or hidden. Heaven was already working quietly behind the scenes, guiding two lives closer together through unseen steps. That person who once received your kindness without you realizing its importance has also been walking their own road of transformation. The kindness you gave them stayed inside their heart like a gentle echo, reminding them that goodness still exists in the world. Over time, that memory grew into gratitude, and gratitude slowly became a quiet curiosity about the person who showed such unexpected warmth during a difficult time. Even if they did not know your full story, your kindness left a permanent mark that shaped the way they see love and humanity today. God often writes the most meaningful stories through moments that appear ordinary to human eyes. A simple conversation, a compassionate gesture, or a quiet act of patience can become the turning point in another person's life without either of you realizing its full importance. You may not have known that your heart was being used as a vessel of healing that day, but heaven knew exactly what was happening. God saw a moment where compassion overcame indifference, and that moment became part of a much larger story that continues unfolding now. The person whose heart you touched has grown stronger through the years that followed. They have carried the quiet memory of your kindness like a small treasure that reminded them to believe in goodness again. During moments when they felt uncertain about the future, that memory helped them keep faith alive. Meanwhile, God continued guiding your own life through seasons of learning and personal growth. Some of those seasons felt difficult and confusing, yet each experience was shaping your character, patience, and emotional depth. Every step was preparing your heart for a connection that would carry greater meaning than ordinary relationships. People everywhere are suddenly talking about a strange 7-second CIA ritual, a brainwave technique that reportedly leaked from classified CIA research is now spreading across the world. Scientists say this short practice may activate a hidden prosperity center in the brain that most people never use. Thousands claim it has already helped them attract wealth, live their dream life, and enjoy luxury vacations they once thought were impossible. If you are seeing this now, consider yourself lucky because the page could disappear at any moment. Click the link in the description and comments to learn the secret before it is removed. Sometimes God allows two souls to walk separate paths for a while so that each person can grow into the strength and understanding needed for the future they will share. The time apart becomes a classroom where life gently teaches lessons that make love deeper, stronger, and more compassionate. When the time is right, God begins quietly guiding those two paths back toward one another again. Small coincidences begin appearing, conversations happen unexpectedly, and familiar feelings start awakening inside the heart. These moments are not random events, but gentle movements of divine timing guiding two lives toward reunion. You might already feel something shifting inside your spirit recently, as though life is slowly opening a new chapter filled with warmth and possibility. That feeling is not imagination, because God often prepares the heart emotionally before revealing the blessing that is approaching. The person whose life you once touched without knowing has also been feeling a similar stirring inside their heart. They may not fully understand why certain memories are returning or why certain feelings of gratitude are growing stronger recently, yet those emotions are part of the quiet preparation God is orchestrating. Soon, the paths that once separated you will begin moving closer together again. The meeting will not feel forced or strange, because your souls already share a history written through kindness, healing, and divine guidance. When that moment arrives, something inside both of your hearts will recognize the familiarity of that connection, even if words cannot fully explain it. Peace will appear naturally, conversations will flow gently, and an unexpected sense of belonging will settle quietly between you. This is how God often reveals the beauty of connections that were formed through compassion long before love was recognized. The kindness you offered once saved a heart that was struggling to keep believing in goodness. Now God is gently bringing that heart back into your life, so that both of you can discover the deeper purpose hidden inside that moment from the past. This story is not about coincidence or chance. It is about the quiet power of compassion and the beautiful way God honors acts of kindness that come from a sincere heart. There are seasons in life when people cross our path for only a short time, yet the impact of that meeting becomes part of a larger story that continues long after the moment passes. You may have walked away from that day, believing that nothing unusual had happened, believing it was simply another ordinary encounter within a busy world. Yet heaven recognized something far more meaningful, unfolding between two souls whose paths were meant to reconnect later. God often hides his greatest work inside simple moments that appear small to human eyes. A kind gesture, a comforting presence, or a moment of patience can become the turning point in another person's life. When your heart chose compassion that day, it became the gentle bridge that helped another soul step away from despair and move closer toward healing. Type 1111 if you trust in God. The person whose life you touched has carried that moment quietly inside their memory, sometimes remembering it during peaceful evenings and sometimes during difficult nights when strength felt distant. That memory did not fade with time because it carried a warmth that felt rare and sincere. Even when life continued moving forward and circumstances changed, the feeling of gratitude remained alive inside their heart. God allowed that memory to stay with them because it became a reminder that goodness still exists in the world. When they felt discouraged or uncertain about trusting others again, the kindness you once offered gently reminded them that there are people whose hearts still carry genuine care. While this quiet memory continued to live inside their heart, your own journey was unfolding through its own seasons of growth and transformation. You faced moments when life tested your patience, moments when you felt unseen by others, and moments when your kindness seemed to pass unnoticed by the world around you. Yet none of those moments were wasted in the eyes of God. Each experience was shaping your character and strengthening the depth of your heart. Compassion grows stronger when it continues to exist, even after disappointment and hardship, and your life quietly proved that strength again and again. God was preparing both of you in ways that could not be fully understood at the time. One soul was learning how to trust again after experiencing pain, while the other was learning how to remain gentle and faithful even when life offered little recognition in return. These lessons were not separate stories, but two chapters of the same journey slowly moving toward reunion. The path toward meaningful connections is rarely rushed, because hearts need time to grow into the wisdom required to recognize true blessings when they appear. If that meeting had happened earlier, perhaps both of you would not have understood the value of what God was placing before you. Instead, heaven allowed time to work quietly, allowing each of you to gain deeper understanding about love, patience, forgiveness, and faith. These experiences slowly shaped your hearts into vessels capable of holding a connection built on sincerity rather than temporary emotion. Even now, small changes are quietly happening around both of your lives. Certain thoughts are appearing more often in your mind, certain feelings of hope are returning to your spirit, and certain paths are opening in ways that seem strangely timed, yet beautifully aligned. These gentle movements are not random, because God often begins preparing hearts emotionally before revealing the blessings that are approaching. A sense of anticipation begins forming inside the soul even before the reason for that feeling becomes clear. The person whose life you once helped save without knowing is also experiencing similar moments of reflection and quiet gratitude. They may find themselves remembering that act of kindness again with surprising clarity, feeling warmth inside their heart, even though many years may have passed since that moment. God sometimes awakens memories in order to guide people toward unfinished chapters in their story. When a moment carries divine purpose, time cannot erase its significance, and the heart eventually returns to it when the right season arrives. A powerful 7-second brainwave method, once stored inside classified files, is now reaching the public. Many people are calling it the 30-second miracle because of how quickly it can be done. According to researchers, it stimulates a dormant brain region linked to prosperity and opportunities. Thousands of users say it has already helped them attract wealth, live their dream life, and take luxury vacations around the world. If you are seeing this message, you arrived at the right moment because the information may not stay online for long. Click the link in the description and comments to discover the technique before it disappears again. Soon, circumstances will begin moving in ways that gently guide both of your paths closer together again. It may happen through unexpected conversations, familiar environments, or moments that appear simple on the surface yet carry deeper meaning underneath. When that meeting begins to unfold, the connection will not feel forced or confusing. Instead, there will be a natural sense of comfort and recognition that settles quietly between you. Conversations will flow easily, and a calm feeling of belonging will appear in a way that feels peaceful rather than overwhelming. This is how God reveals connections that were built on compassion long before love had a chance to fully grow. The foundation of kindness creates a space where trust can develop naturally, without fear or uncertainty. Both of you will slowly begin to understand that the moment from the past was not simply a random encounter, but the beginning of a story that heaven intended to continue later. The kindness that once saved a struggling heart will become the starting point of something far more meaningful. Type 1919 to receive miracles. The beauty of God's work often appears quietly rather than dramatically. Instead of sudden fireworks or overwhelming signs, divine timing often reveals itself through peaceful clarity and gentle understanding. Hearts begin to recognize each other through sincerity, patience, and shared values rather than temporary attraction alone. You will begin to notice that this connection carries a depth that feels different from ordinary relationships. There will be a sense of safety in the presence of that person, a feeling that your heart can rest without needing to hide its true nature. This comfort will not come from perfection, but from the understanding that both of you have walked through seasons that shaped compassion inside your hearts. Shared experiences of growth often create the strongest foundations for love. God has been preparing this moment with careful attention because He understands how deeply meaningful such connections can become. When two souls come together through kindness rather than selfish desire, the relationship carries a strength that can endure life's challenges. The reunion will not only bring joy but also healing for both hearts. The person whose life you once touched will finally have the opportunity to express gratitude that remained unspoken for so long, and you will begin to see how your kindness traveled far beyond what you once imagined. In that moment, you may realize that God was quietly guiding both of your lives through separate seasons for a purpose that was always greater than temporary circumstances. Every challenge, every lesson, and every moment of patience was part of a preparation that allowed this reunion to happen at the right time. As this story continues unfolding, you will understand more clearly that compassion is never wasted. Every sincere act of love carries a seed of blessing that eventually returns in ways no one can predict. The kindness you offered once became a lifeline for a struggling heart, and now heaven is guiding that heart back into your life so that both of you can discover the deeper meaning hidden inside that moment. There are many things in life that people forget with time, yet sincere kindness rarely disappears from the heart that received it. When someone experiences compassion during a difficult season, that memory becomes a quiet refuge that stays alive for years. It becomes a reminder that goodness exists even in a world that sometimes feels heavy and uncertain. The soul whose life you touched carried that memory through many seasons. During moments when life felt confusing or lonely, the kindness you once showed continued to shine gently inside their thoughts. It reminded them that there are people whose hearts hold warmth and sincerity without expecting anything in return. God allowed that memory to remain strong inside them because it became part of the path leading back to you. Heaven sometimes plants small seeds of hope inside people through unexpected encounters, knowing that those seeds will grow into something beautiful when the right time arrives. Type yes to affirm. While that memory quietly lived inside their heart, your own life continued to unfold through its own lessons and seasons of growth. There were moments when you felt uncertain about the direction of your journey, and moments when you wondered whether your kindness truly mattered in a world that often rewards louder voices and harder hearts. Yet your gentle nature never disappeared. Even during difficult seasons, you continued choosing patience, understanding, and compassion toward others. These choices were shaping your spirit in ways that prepared you for something far greater than temporary recognition. God watches closely when a heart continues choosing goodness, even when life feels unfair or discouraging. Those choices carry deep meaning in heaven because they reveal a spirit that trusts love more than bitterness. The person whose life you once helped lift from darkness was also walking through their own seasons of growth and discovery. Life taught them valuable lessons about resilience, healing, and the importance of protecting a sincere heart. During those years, they slowly began to understand how rare true kindness can be. Many people cross our path in life, yet only a few leave an impression strong enough to stay in our memory long after the moment passes. Your presence in that moment became one of those rare impressions that quietly stayed alive inside their heart. It was not because of grand words or dramatic actions, but because the compassion you showed felt genuine and peaceful. God often uses simple kindness to create connections that are deeper than ordinary relationships. When two souls first meet through compassion rather than expectation, a strong foundation begins forming even before love is fully recognized. As the seasons passed, both of your lives continued moving forward through separate journeys. Each of you carried unseen experiences that slowly shaped wisdom and emotional depth inside your hearts. These lessons were not random events. God was allowing both of you to grow into the kind of people who could recognize and protect a connection built on sincerity and faith. A little-known morning ritual that lasts only 7 seconds was once hidden in CIA documents. Now it is resurfacing, and people are already reporting sudden financial improvements. Backed by neuroscience, this simple practice may activate a hidden wealth center in the brain that most individuals never tap into. Many say it has already helped thousands attract wealth, live their dream life, and enjoy luxury vacations. If you found this message today, you may be among the few seeing it before it vanishes. Click the link in the description and comments to access the secret now. Sometimes people meet too early in life, before their hearts have matured enough to understand the value of what stands before them. But when God waits for the right season, the meeting becomes clearer, calmer, and filled with deeper appreciation. You may have recently felt a subtle change inside your spirit, a feeling that life is slowly opening a new chapter filled with quiet hope. Certain thoughts may appear in your mind more often, and certain emotions may awaken that feel both familiar and comforting. These feelings are often the first signs that God is preparing your heart for something meaningful that is approaching. When heaven begins guiding two paths closer together, the heart often senses the shift before the mind fully understands it. The person whose life you once touched has also been feeling gentle changes inside their heart. They may find themselves reflecting on old memories with surprising clarity, including the moment when someone showed kindness during a difficult time. That memory has begun glowing brighter inside their thoughts again, almost like a light being gently uncovered after years of quiet rest. God sometimes awakens memories when the time has come for a new chapter to begin. Type 1212 if you walk by faith. Soon your paths will begin crossing again through moments that seem ordinary but carry quiet meaning underneath. A conversation may happen naturally, or a familiar place may bring two lives back into the same space once more. When that meeting unfolds, there will be a calm recognition that flows gently between your hearts. It will not feel confusing or overwhelming, but instead peaceful and natural. You will begin to sense that this person feels familiar in a way that cannot easily be explained. The warmth of their presence will remind you of something deeply comforting, even if your mind cannot immediately understand why. This is often how God reveals connections that have been quietly forming through unseen moments in the past. The heart recognizes sincerity long before the mind fully understands the story behind it. For the person whose life you once touched, meeting you again will awaken feelings of gratitude and peace that have been quietly waiting for the right moment to be expressed. They will remember how your kindness once lifted their spirit when life felt uncertain. At that moment, they may finally understand that the person who helped restore their hope was never meant to remain a distant memory. Instead, that moment was the beginning of a connection that heaven intended to continue. For you, the reunion will also carry a beautiful realization. You will begin to see how a simple act of compassion traveled far beyond what you once imagined. The kindness you gave without expecting anything in return became a lifeline for someone who was struggling to believe in goodness again. God used your heart as an instrument of healing during a moment that quietly changed another person's life. Now heaven is gently guiding that life back toward yours, so that both of you can discover the deeper purpose hidden inside that moment from the past. This connection will grow slowly and naturally, built upon respect, understanding, and shared gratitude for the path that brought you together again. There will be a sense of emotional safety that allows both of your hearts to open without fear. The relationship that begins forming will not be based on temporary excitement alone, but on a deeper recognition of kindness, patience, and faith. These qualities create a foundation that can withstand life's storms and seasons of change. God has been carefully preparing both of you so that when this reunion unfolds, the connection will carry maturity and understanding rather than confusion or uncertainty. The beauty of this story is not only about love, but also about the quiet power of compassion. A simple act of kindness once became the reason another soul found strength to keep believing in life. Now, that same kindness is returning to you in a way that reveals how meaningful your heart truly is in the eyes of heaven. As your journeys continue moving closer together, you will begin to understand that nothing done with love is ever wasted. Every sincere gesture carries the potential to change lives in ways that may only become clear years later. God often allows time to pass so that people can see the full beauty of what was planted during earlier seasons of life. When the blessing finally arrives, the heart recognizes its value with deeper gratitude. The reunion that is slowly approaching will not simply be a meeting of two individuals, but the continuation of a story that began with compassion and faith. There are moments in life that appear simple when they happen, Yet years later, those same moments reveal a deeper meaning that could never have been understood at the time. The kindness you once offered came from a place of genuine care, not from a desire for recognition or reward. That purity of intention is what allowed God to use that moment as a turning point in another person's life. When a heart receives kindness during a season of struggle, that experience becomes a quiet source of strength. It reminds the soul that goodness still exists, even when circumstances feel heavy or uncertain. The person whose life you touched carried that memory through many different seasons, and it became a gentle light during moments when hope seemed distant. Your compassion did more than comfort them for a short time. It helped rebuild a sense of trust that had been slowly fading from their heart. When people experience disappointment or pain, they sometimes begin to believe that kindness is rare or temporary. Yet the moment you shared with them proved that sincere goodness still lives in the world. That realization quietly changed the direction of their life. Because of your kindness, they began to approach life with a little more faith in people and a little more courage to continue moving forward. God used your gentle spirit as a reminder that love and compassion are still powerful forces. Type 666 if you trust Jesus. A rare 7-second brainwave ritual that was once buried in classified research is now returning to public view. Reports claim it can trigger a hidden switch in the brain associated with abundance and opportunity. The practice takes almost no time, yet it may unlock mental pathways that draw prosperity naturally. People who have discovered it say it has already helped thousands attract wealth, live their dream life, and travel on luxury vacations. If this message reached you today, it may be for a reason, because the page could disappear soon. Click the link in the description and comments to see it before it is removed. While this transformation was happening inside their heart, your own journey was continuing through experiences that shaped your character in meaningful ways. Life placed challenges before you that tested your patience and resilience, yet those moments also revealed the strength that lives quietly inside your spirit. Every season you walked through was preparing your heart for something that would carry deeper meaning in the future. Growth often happens during times when we feel unnoticed or uncertain about the direction of our lives. Yet those seasons quietly build wisdom and emotional depth that become essential for the relationships we will later experience. God allowed both of your journeys to unfold separately for a time because each heart needed space to grow and understand the true value of compassion and sincerity. If your paths had remained close during those earlier years, perhaps neither of you would have fully recognized the importance of what was placed before you. Instead, heaven allowed distance and time to shape your lives in ways that strengthened your understanding of love, patience, and trust. These experiences slowly created a foundation where a meaningful connection could grow without confusion or fear. The person whose life you once helped lift from a difficult moment has also been learning through their own experiences. They discovered how important it is to protect a sincere heart while still remaining open to goodness when it appears. Through the years, they carried gratitude for the kindness they once received, even though they did not know whether they would ever see you again.